Hey guys, it's Kemmerer, and today I'm going to be doing my January week 2 reading vlog. So as always, I'm going to start with the books that I'm currently reading. I'm going to start out with my unwrapped book. So my unwrapped books, I'm doing them different than last year. I'm going to be unwrapping a book for every 2 weeks. So this week I'm rolling over the book that I unwrapped last week. And last week I unwrapped Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney. I actually started this last night because I'm always behind on my unwrapped books. But I'm definitely excited for this one. Mostly because it's like super easy to read. Because it's written in like cartoons, which is just really cool. I feel like this is the type of book that like an 11-year-old boy would really love, and it's middle grade, so it's for that audience. So I'm not the target audience for this book, so I don't know how much I'm gonna like it, but we'll see how it goes. I read like the first 40 pages or so, and I did find it really interesting, and it's kind of funny too, so I am enjoying this one so far. I still have one reread that I'm currently in, rolling over from December. Actually, technically two. The one that I'm currently reading is Wundersmith by Jessica Townsend. I made some progress on this one last night also. I'm really enjoying this one. This is like one of my favorite books of all time, so I feel like I'm just gonna do this one a little bit slowly, probably like one chapter or so a night, just to like drag it out a little bit. And I'm a little more focused on like my January TBR books now than I am on finishing up my December rereads, but I will finish up the two that I mentioned in January. So the two that I really wanted to finish up was Wundersmith, and then I still have Hero of Ages by Sanderson to read. But yeah, definitely enjoying this and excited to continue on, but I'm gonna be taking this one slow. I'm mostly also taking that one slow just so that I have something to read when I come back home from work, because a lot of times when I come back home from work, I go to pick up the whatever book I'm currently reading, and it's like this gritty, dark, high fantasy novel, and I'm just like, this is so hard to read when I just want to go to sleep right now. But with Wundersmith, it's super easy to read, and I get through it really fast without even realizing it, so that's why I'm happy to have that one. Okay, and then for my audiobook, I decided to pick up The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. I knew this was gonna be one of the first books that I picked up in January, and I'm so excited for it. So far, it's really good. It's following a bunch of different characters. It really does feel like a great military fantasy. I like all of the details that Joe Abercrombie puts into his book, and I'm definitely excited to see where this one goes, because so far, I'm really enjoying it. And it's also following characters that I actually know from the first Law trilogy, which I enjoy. There was a moment where this character popped in and I was just like, wait, what just happened? I can't believe that just happened. So yeah, definitely really enjoying this one. So the other two books that I'm currently reading are ones that I've been reading for a really long time. These are very, very slow reads for me. I know, it's weird that I'm still reading these. But the first one is Words of Radiance by Sanderson. This is the second book in the Stormlight Archives. Right now I have this one on pause just because I'm currently in the middle of a reread for the Mistborn trilogy. I'm not currently reading one of them, but I just finished The Well of Ascension, and I'm supposed to be starting The Hero of Ages soon. I'm gonna start them on an audiobook sometime after I finish The Heroes. Hopefully I can get to The Hero of Ages before the end of the week, and then starting at the end of the week or at the beginning of next week, I will continue on with this one. It's just really weird for me to read two Sanderson books at once, just because they're very similarly written, and the audiobook narrator is the same person. So I get confused between the two of them sometimes when I'm listening to them or reading them. So that's why I just wanted to pause until I finish my reread of the Mistborn trilogy, and then I'll continue on with Stormlight Archives. But I am enjoying this one and definitely excited for it. The other one is Deadhouse by Erikson, and this one I will be picking up this week. I've already decided it's gonna happen. This is gonna be my physical book for the week, basically. Really excited for Deadhouse. Hopefully it's not gonna be as hard to read as I'm worried that it will be. I don't think it will be. I was fine with the first one, so I don't think the second one could be much harder than the first one was, but so far I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I'm definitely really excited to pick this one back up. Okay, so it's Monday, January 6th. Last night, I finally got back to Deadhouse by Erikson. I'm really enjoying it. I read a chapter and a half last night. I'm shooting for a chapter a day, but I had stopped in the middle of a chapter. I had finished that chapter, and then I read one more chapter, so I'm right about there now. So far, I'm really enjoying this. I don't know where it's going though. I like a lot of the characters, and I'm excited to see what their arcs are gonna look like. But yeah, I have kind of no idea where this is going, but I feel like some things are being set up right now that will have good payoffs in the end. So I'm definitely excited for this one. I also made quite a bit of progress on my unwrapped book. This is The Diary of the Wimpy Kid by Kinney. Almost halfway through it now. I had planned to read only like 40 pages and then move on to Wundersmith, but this one kind of like caught my attention randomly and I decided to just continue on with it. It's like kind of funny and quirky and I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a book that is for middle schoolers though. Like, I don't really see people that are older than middle school age enjoying this as much as a middle schooler would. Like, I can see like middle school boys loving this. I don't think if you're older than that age, you would love this in the same way, but I am enjoying it. And lastly, I've made a lot of progress on The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. I absolutely love this book so far. It's not my favorite Joe Abercrombie book because it's following kind of the characters that I didn't like as much from the first Law trilogy, which is like the northern characters, which are fine. Like, I'm sure a lot of people love the northern characters because they're like the more classic high fantasy characters, and this is like a military fantasy, so I'm sure this is like a lot of people's favorite book that he's written or whatever. While I still love it because it's a Joe Abercrombie book and it's fantastically written and I love the action and everything and the emotional struggles that these characters are going through, they're following characters and situations that wouldn't be why I read his books, if you know what I mean. So if I don't like this as much as you think I'm gonna like it, because I want to really, really love it, and I probably still will really love it, that's why. It's just not the side of the first Law that I really love. But I'm still enjoying it. Pretty far into it now, right there. So I read quite a bit so far. I'm listening to the audiobook for this one, so this one will be a little bit faster than some of the other ones that I read. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this and I'm definitely excited to see where this is going. I think I mentioned before, but this one is following the character, like the northern characters who are at war, and it seems to take place entirely within this battle that's happening. So right now I'm still on day 1, but like it's broken into parts and I'll soon be on day 2. Like, I'm almost done with the day 1 section of it. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. I like the way that it's structured and I'm excited to see like more from this book. So yes, enjoy. Okay. So it's Tuesday, January 7th, and last night I finished The Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Kinney. This one I really didn't enjoy as much as I wanted to. I do understand, like I think I mentioned earlier in this vlog, that 12-year-old boys would probably love this, and I can see how they would. But at my current age and even gender, I don't love it that much. I feel like I wouldn't even have loved this when I was 12 years old. Like, I would have hated this. I would have thought that it was so stupid and I wouldn't have liked it. I'm putting that out there. As an adult now, thinking about, you know, some of my family members who might be 12 years old, cousins or nephews, like, I wouldn't want them to read this book. Like, I don't think that the main character sets a very good example. Like, he's not a good person. He treats everyone around him poorly. He blames like all the things that he does on other people. He always finds a way to blame someone else. And I was really hoping that by the end of the story, like, he would learn something, you know what I mean? And like, there is a point where I was thinking like, maybe it's gonna happen now. And then it just kind of didn't. It sort of happened, but at the same time, I just felt like the character was like such a horrible person from the beginning all the way up until this point that the little bit that he did do that was kind of right didn't really make up for any of that. So like, I really didn't like the main character, even though like it was supposed to be kind of more funny than anything else, but I really didn't enjoy the main character, and because of that, I had a lot of difficulty connecting with the plot line and all of that. So I ended up giving this one 3.25 stars. I still think it's a very interesting book. I think, like I said, it's very well suited to the age range that it's targeted for, and I feel like those kids would love this book, and they probably would think it's hilarious. I don't think it's such a very good example for those kids though. So personally, this is not one that I would recommend, and I will not be continuing on with the rest of the series because I think it's just, for me, it's a waste of my time. I really wanted to like this more than I did, but I feel like it's good for what it's marketed to. I did make a bit of progress on the other books that I've been reading. I don't have them on me right now, but so far I'm enjoying all of them. So hopefully I will have better reviews for those than I do for The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It is Wednesday, January 8th, and last night when I got home, this baby was waiting at my front door. I was really tired at the time and I just wanted something light and fast to read, so of course I picked this one up. I read the first like 3.5 chapters or so. I'm really enjoying this one so far. It's not what I expected it to be, because this is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's set in kind of like a modern era. There's like two worlds basically, and our main character Harper is from our world. She's from Washington, D.C., and she gets taken into this other world to try and break the curse. There's the prince, who is the one that she's supposed to be falling in love with, and then there's his guard. So at the end of Curse So Dark and Lonely, there was kind of this thing with the guard. So I expected, like most of Brigid Kemmerer's like sequels are, that it would be following more the guard Gray than Harper and those other characters. But the first chapter in A Heart So Fierce and Broken is Harper, which makes me excited because I wanted to follow her character more because I really liked her character in the first book. So I'm excited for this. I'm not super far into it. Like I said, 3.5 chapters or so. But so far, I am enjoying this, and I'm really excited to continue on with it. I also made a lot of progress with The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. I am nearing the end here, so I should be finishing this over the next couple of days or so, if not today, probably not today, but definitely by like tomorrow or so. So far I am enjoying this. I'm excited to see where this is going because there's definitely some mysterious elements here that I'm interested in seeing how they turn out. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm definitely enjoying this one as well. Okay, you might not have noticed, but I've been sick for the past like week and a half. I've been, as soon as I say it, I've been cutting out all of the coughing scenes just because no one wants to hear that. Because of that, I decided to take today off of work because like they didn't need me. There was no reason for me to be there. So I just wanted to take a relaxed day basically. So of course, I spent most of the day relaxing, and I made quite a bit of progress on A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer right there now. So not quite halfway through it, but pretty far into it. And it's definitely what I had originally thought it was gonna be, but that still makes me excited because that's like what I wanted from this book. So I'm enjoying this so far. I'm having teensy bit of difficulty with it just because one of the characters that I really liked in the previous book is coming out to be a real jerk in this one, which makes me sad. But I am really enjoying it. So yeah, we will see how that goes. But otherwise, I am really enjoying it. Apart from that, I ended up finishing The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. And oh my gosh, this book, I had thought for like the majority of this week that it will be like the first Joe Abercrombie book that I don't rate 5 stars. Like I was leaning very heavily towards a 4.5 star for this book. And then the ending happened and I was just like, oh gosh, the ending is so good. It's not like a huge ending. Like it's not like super shocking or anything like that. It's just the details of the ending I loved. It was everything about a Joe Abercrombie book that I was looking for, and it was amazing, and I really enjoyed it, so I ended up giving it 5 stars. So after I finished that one, I needed to start a new audiobook, so I decided to pick up The Hero of Ages by Sanderson. So I'll be finishing my reread of the Mistborn trilogy, which makes me really excited. I'm pretty excited to get into this one. I remember like how it goes, but I love being in this world. I love the characters, and I'm excited to finish my reread of it. I know there are other books that I wanted to read in January, but I do want to finish those 2 rereads before I get like super deep into my January TBR. So that is why. A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer. I didn't grow as attached to this one as I was expecting to. Brigid Kemmerer is one of those authors, like every single book that I read, I get super attached to the characters right away. And I think this is the first of her books that I haven't finished in like 24 hours. Like this one took me a good 2 to 3 days to finish, which is not a long time for a book. Like it's still fast paced. It still has great characters and all of that. But this one was not like an immediate attraction for me as the other books have been. This is of course the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and it is following the character of Gray. And there's a new character introduced named Liamara, who is the daughter of a queen of a rival kingdom. It follows kind of like the same sort of structure that Brigid Kemmerer has like in all of her books. But with this book, I felt like it leaned a little bit more towards fantasy rather than the like contemporary romance feel to it. Most of the books that I've read by her before were romantic contemporary novels, and they were very much focused on the romance of the situation. And even in A Curse So Dark and Lonely, even though it's a fantasy novel, I felt like it was more like a romantic contemporary novel with fantasy elements. I feel like that changed with A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I feel like this is a fantasy novel with romantic elements to it. And it's not that I didn't like this book. I enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. But because like in my head, I'm thinking of it as a fantasy novel, I'm judging it by different standards, if you know what I mean. Like I go pretty easy on romantic contemporaries. As long as I'm rooting for the romance, I usually give romantic contemporaries a pretty high rating. But with fantasy novels, I need more than just romance in it. I need fantastic world building. I need interesting, intricate plots and complexities that I don't really care about when I'm reading romance. And while I think there was a lot of that in here, there were a lot of things about it that it didn't quite get there for me. Like the world building is good, but it's also like a little too much about our own world. Like just the words that they use and things like that don't really make sense to me when they're talking. Like for example, they use the word jacket a lot. I feel like it doesn't make sense for like a medieval society to use the word jacket. Like it just doesn't seem like the sort of word that they would use. So that part of it just didn't really work for me. And then magic is a much bigger part in this book, I think, than the previous book. I mean, the last book, yes, there was a curse, so obviously there was magic in it. But in this one, like magic plays a vital role to our main characters. It wasn't really defined very well. Like there wasn't that much definition of how magic worked and things like that, which is what I look for in a fantasy novel. So it was just missing a lot of like the fantasy aspects that I look for in a fantasy novel, while at the same time not having enough of that romantic contemporary feel for me to call it a romance. So yeah, I don't know. It was between two genres that I really love, and I don't feel like it quite made it to be like a thing of its own in the way that A Curse So Dark and Lonely did. While I did really enjoyed this book, and like I said, I read it pretty fast, and Gray, of course, is the main character of this book, and he is one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Like, he was my favorite character in the first book, so of course, I loved reading his story. I did still root for the romance that was in this book, so like, there was still a lot of things that were really great about this book. It just didn't live up to like the regular standards that I would have from like favorite fantasy novels. So because of that, I ended up giving it 4 stars. Okay, so it's Saturday, January 11th, and I made quite a bit of progress on Deadhouse Gates by Steven Erikson yesterday. I'm right about there now. So this is the second book in the Muslim Book of the Fallen series, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm getting a better feel for the characters in this book than I did in the first book, and I'm excited to see where this one's going, because this one has a very ominous feel to it that I just didn't really get from the first book. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this one, but like, I'm still like only a third of the way into the book, and I've been reading it for a while now, so I don't know how long this one's gonna take me, but I read like about a chapter and a half yesterday, which I think is pretty decent for this book, because like a chapter in this book is like 50 pages, so that's a lot. But yeah, enjoying this so far. I also made quite a bit of progress on my audiobook for The Hero of Ages by Sanderson. I'm right about there now. I'm planning on finishing this one today. I've been going a little bit between the audible and the physical book just because I want to finish this one sooner rather than later, because it's one of my December rereads and I want to finish it soon. But I am enjoying this one. I still think my favorite book in the series is The Final Empire, which I think is an unpopular opinion because most people, I feel like, love The Hero of Ages, but for some reason The Final Empire just does it for me in a way the other 2 books doesn't. So I'll talk about that more in like my book talk of these books, but I am really enjoying this and I'm planning on finishing this one very soon. Hopefully today. Okay, it is still Saturday and I finished The Hero of Ages by Sanderson. Wow, that ending gets me every time. It was so well plotted out, the very end. I made sure to read that one physically because I knew the ending was gonna be good, but somehow it still managed to like blow my mind with the ending. So because of that, I ended up giving this one 5 stars. Like the ending of this book just like makes the entire series. Like seriously, it was really, really good. I absolutely loved it. I will be doing a book talk on the entire series, so look for that coming soon. I seriously doubt I'm gonna be finishing any other books today, so the last thing I have to do before signing off on this vlog is unwrap my book for next week. So my unwrapped books this year are doing every 2 weeks, so this book will be for the next 2 weeks. So by the end of next week, I'm not gonna unwrap another book, but the week afterwards, I will unwrap a book for the following 2 weeks. You get what I mean. So it's time to see what this is gonna be. So I got When We Collide by Emery Lord. I don't know anything about this book. It looks like it's a YA contemporary novel, so we'll see how this goes. I haven't read a YA contemporary in a while. I actually did read contemporary this month already, but it's fine. Like, I could read another one. I believe I got this from Book Outlet because I really like the cover, and I've never heard anyone talk about it, so should be interesting. So that's all I have for you guys today. I post videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so consider subscribing. I also post bonus videos, so if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.